Thank you very much for being willing to serve on a committee or team for Milford Hills. We are happy that you are here, and we are grateful that you are participating in this way and using your skills and leadership abilities to help guide our church into what God is calling us to do. In this video, what I want to do is just talk about the structure of the local church, how United Methodist churches are structured, but then also what is specific to Milford Hills United Methodist. So come along as we discuss exactly that. So where we start is, what is the local church? The local church, when it comes to the United Methodist denomination, according to our Book of Discipline from 2016, it defines the local church as the local church provides the most significant arena through which disciple making occurs. Under the discipline of the Holy Spirit, the church exists for the maintenance of worship, the edification of believers, and the redemption of the world. Hear that again. We exist. Milford Hills United Methodist Church exists for the maintenance of worship, the edification of believers, and the redemption of the world. That is how our denomination views the role of the local church. There's a lot to do. So how do we do it? When it comes to our methodical way, what we're known for, the way we are structured, our polity, the local church is run by different committees. In paragraph 258 in the Book of Discipline, we learn that every United Methodist church is required to have these 5 administrative committees: church council, nominations, staff parish relations, or pastor parish relations if it's a smaller church, board of trustees, and finance. There are some churches now that are going through a one board model, and what that means is they only have a one board that kind of directs everything. However, on that board, there these different 5 committees. They're being represented in that board. And so every United Methodist church you walk into has these 5 committees somehow in some way. So what do? Church council, this is the main voting body of the local church. All decisions are basically run through this grand committee. It is made from different chairs of all the different committees, people who serve in leadership roles, such as the church treasurer or church secretary or the membership secretary. They are the main voting body of the church. They are the executive agency for charge conference. So this is when major decisions have to be made and then have to be sent to the district superintendent or to the conference or denomination. It is this church, it is this group that is are the ones who make those decisions and cast those votes. So for example, just recently we held a meeting that needed a charge conference for taking money out of our legacy endowment. Although anyone could attend that charge conference, anyone could see and hear the business or add their opinions, only members of church council had the ability to vote on that proposal. We are a representative denomination, and so we elect people to represent the best interest of of the church. And so it is not like it is not a Baptist model where everyone gets a vote. It is only a representative model where we select representatives to help run the church. So that's church council. Our church council meets about every 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes every other month. Actually, better is every 4 to 8 weeks. We've met on Zoom, and we also meet in person, depending on what kind of business we need to cover that day. And once again, all church council meetings are open for anyone to attend and listen to, but only members of the church council can vote on matters. All right, so what are some of our other administrative committees? So there's 4 of them: nominations, finance, board of trustees, and staff parish relations. Let's go into what each of these do. Nominations is in charge of nominating leadership to the church and to build leadership skills for the church. The nominations committee is unique because it is the only committee that is chaired by the pastor appointed to that church. So myself, Jim Parsons, the pastor who's appointed here, I am the one in charge of nominations. I am the chair. So we meet usually during a season, during the fall, as we prepare for our charge conference to elect leadership for the next year. So, for example, in 2024, when this video is coming out, we will start to meet probably August, September of 2024 to prepare our leadership roles for charge conference, which usually happens in October or November. We may meet twice or 3 or 4 times. We meet in person. Our conversations are confidential because we're talking about the skills and the leadership abilities of different people. And we are working hard to put people in the right places, put leaders in the right spots so that we as a church can continue to grow and be molded the way that God desires us to be. The Board of Trustees. So something unique to the United Methodist denomination is that all of our buildings are entrusted to us. All of our buildings, all of our land, all of our parsonages are owned by the denominations thanks to the trust clause that is in each of the deeds. The Board of Trustees is the body that is they are in charge of keeping up and to taking care of the property of the church. Something that is unique to the Board of Trustees is they elect their own leadership. And so nominations, although we would elect chairs for church council or staff parish or finance, every year the Board of Trustees elects their own president and vice president and secretary. What nominations does is they elect who will be serving on for those 3-year terms. So in 2024, we'll be voting on 2 more people to serve on trustees for the class of 2028. So they will serve until 2028. So this group, they meet about once a month during the busy times of the year. Or if there's big projects that have to be handled or situations that need to be addressed, we usually meet in person because it's a little easier, although we have done a couple Zoom meetings. But this is a good group that works well to keep the church in good working order. And we work hard to keep ourselves ahead of problems instead of just being reactionary to when things happen. One other piece of uniqueness for the Board of Trustees is they have to have 1/3 of their committee the opposite sex. So trustees can have between 6 to 9 people that serve on it. And so either 2 or 3 members of that committee, at least, depending on how many total. For us, there's 6 people. So there's 2 that serve on the Board of Trustees that have to be the opposite sex of the other 4. So it can't be all women and it can't be all men. It can't just be one woman or one man. It needs to be 1/3 of the committee. And they do this so that more than just men making decisions, that women are also brought into those conversations so that more of the church can be represented. This is also a place where the pastor does not have a vote. The pastor has a voice on trustees. I attend all the meetings that I can, and I will give my insight. But when it comes down to voting on what to do, I do not have a vote on that committee. So next we have finance. Finance deals with money. Many people who are the chairs of committees serve on finance as well, such as staff parish, the president or vice president of the trustees, and church council chair. But then you also have 3 at-large members here at Milford Hills. And so we invite 3 other people, 1 for each of the class years, to serve on this, to bring different insights and different people into the financial conversation of the church. We also have our financial secretary and financial treasurer, and of course the chair of finance as well. This group meets usually during the year. We meet on Zoom, and we are able to hold those meetings on Zoom. We meet about once a month, and then take the summer off. And it's a great way to just keep up to date of what's happening financially with the life of the church, to talk about stewardship in different areas so that we can celebrate the wonderful things that are happening in this church. A couple of years ago, we did a study together to learn more about the financial aspects of church economics, basically, and to figure out a way to build stewardship and to create good habits within a congregation. It's been a fun group to work with, and they are very diligent in their work as well. The last kind of main administrative committee is staff parish relations. If you've never heard of this committee, this is kind of the HR committee of the church, or human relations. These are the people that are they hold me accountable as the pastor. They hold our staff accountable. They are the ones that hire and fire. They're the ones that if there is an issue, the lady or the church can go to them to offer a complaint. Just one little note on that our staff parish relations committee has agreed that we do not accept any kind of anonymous critique of any of our staff. If you have a problem or an issue, we ask that you put that in writing and that you sign your name so that we understand who this is and we can help work through those issues in a very transparent way. So staff parish is also the ones that the district superintendent, who runs our district and who follows up with appointments, will be talking to if there is a change in the pastoral leadership. And so when I arrived back in 2018, the district superintendent, Laura Otten, discussed my arrival and worked with the staff parish to get ready for me to arrive here. And many, 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 many years from now, that might happen again. But that this is the committee that deals with pastoral changes. So these are the 5 administrative committees. We have church council, nominations, finance, board of trustees, and staff parish. Now, other committees exist for the life of the church, but they're unique to each church because each church has their unique way of doing ministry in their own context. So for us, we have a parsonage. So we have a parsonage committee. They're a subcommittee of the trustees. And for that parsonage committee, we really meet when there is an issue. We have to have an annual walkthrough of the parsonage every year and before charge conference. But really, when there's issues, we just we come together to figure out how to deal with whatever that issue is at the parsonage. We have a missions team. This group meets when needed to help run the pumpkin patch and then to help send funds over to Zoe or to do other projects and to get people interactive in the mission and life of the church, or missions life of the church. They take a Acts 1:8 model of missions work. So we do things locally and regionally and globally. And if you read 1 Acts, that'll make sense because it talks about going to Jerusalem and Judea and to the ends of the earth. The worship committee, you can guess it, it deals with worship. They're the ones that help plan high holy seasons of preparation like Lent and Advent, figure out what to do for Easter and for Christmas, and if there's any other special events that are happening in the spiritual life and worship of the church. Herman Scholarship is a very unique opportunity here at Milford Hills. It is a way that we give scholarships to our own students who are in higher education. And this group helps with the funding of that and figuring out how much money we can give to our students through the Herman Scholarship Fund. The Family Life Team is a group who is kind of like the hospitality team. They help with homecoming and with other events like the Easter sunrise service brunch or breakfast. And they're the ones who are out there making sure that the fellowship hall looks well, that we have enough food and drink, and things are running smoothly when we come to those events that are held there. The audit team is a group of people who audit the books of the church and all the different accounts that the church has. We do this once a year, so it's literally one meeting, one Saturday for a couple hours. We gather and go through the different books. We've really streamlined it, but it's a way to keep us accountable, to look over our finances, and to make sure that we are following the right protocols and doing things properly with the gifts that we have been given. The Legacy Endowment Team is a team that has come together just recently, since the Legacy Endowment's really only about 18 or 2 years old. They are working to continue to build what the Legacy Endowment will do and how it can be used for the church. And they're meeting just a few times to get together at certain parts of the year when decisions have to be made. The kitchen team is designed to help look after the kitchen, to make sure we have the basic products that are needed in the kitchen, like coffee or plates and napkins and those sort of things. And they look over making sure the kitchen is kept well or up, is tidy and taken care of. So all of these different committees, the nominations team helps put together. But there are a couple that the nominations committee may suggest, but are done in other places. The Thigpen Trust Committee has existed since the beginning of the Thigpen Trust, and until a member rolls off, we haven't added anybody new. There's some representatives that are out there, but they deal with requests that come in for the Thigpen Trust, and that's the really only time they meet is when those requests come in. The building team and development team, those were created for specific tasks. They are currently working, like the building team is working on getting an architect and figuring out a master plan and what potentially new building we will be creating here, or reworking renovations for our buildings. And the development team is looking at how we can use our places and spaces a little bit better to connect with the community and possibly have some income revenue into the church as well. So those are specific tasks that those committees are in charge of. But that's how our church is set up. Those are the committees that are made up and that the nominations committee looks to fill in leadership roles. And we have some wonderful leaders of this church, and we are glad that you are a part of it. One thing I want to make sure everyone does is that no matter what committee you are in, that you are asking yourselves this question when any decision comes up for that committee: is what we are about to do live into our mission to love, serve, and live as Christ? Is what we're about to do, does it live out our mission? Because how we do the work in committees and in our groups is how we will live out our mission for the world and for our community. So thank you for asking that question, for having that always in our heads, and for coming together to be the church. Thank you for watching.